Welcome back to episode 5. In this episode, we're going to create another way for our character to perish. It's when we collide with spikes, and eventually it'll work the same way when we collide with walls when we have an auto run feature like in Geometry Dash. So right now the only thing that kills us is if we fall into the abyss and we go too far down, it'll respawn us right back to the respawn point. All right, now how do we do this? Well, first thing we need to do is we need to create some type of hazard. So I'm going to actually get rid of some of these platforms. We don't need any of those, and you have your own. So I'm just going to get rid of all those extra platforms, and I'm going to create our hazard. And we're going to make a spike, which is really easy in Unity with its rudimentary shapes built into it. We're just going to go to 2D object, sprites, and we're going to be creating this inner hierarchy, a triangle. And there we go. We got a triangle, and we're going to place it down on this platform somewhere. Let's put it right about there. Okay, and we should rename that. We should rename this to Spike or spikes, whatever you like. And we're going to need to create a layer. Now, I think I've already created this layer. So remember, we created a ground layer, and we need a specific layer. Ground is good for allowing us to jump, but we need a layer that tells us when we get hurt or perish, we die and have to get respawned. So all I did was I hit add layer and typed in hazard. Okay, so that won't be there. You'll have to type it in like I just did. Press enter. And now we have the hazard layer. So we go back to the spikes, and we're going to place it on that layer. Now, this spike is missing something still. Right now, it is just a transform with a sprite. If I press play, I could walk right through it. I can't collide with it. So we're going to need to add the collider. So we're going to start in typing collider, and we don't want a box, capsule, circle. Those don't make sense. We actually want what's a polygon. You can see it looks like a triangle. Polygon means just many-sided shape, and that will go right around. So now if I turn off my sprite renderer, we can see the collider is wrapped around. And we are good to go. Now, the problem is we can collide with it now, but nothing happens. We're going to create something in our player controller script where if I move and I go on top of this spike, I should actually respawn. And right now it's just kind of like a jump I can jump off of and slide on. Oh, I can balance on it just perfectly. Okay, so let's go to our script and apply the code. All right. So we're going to scroll down to the very bottom of our code. Now, we normally, when we want to check for things, we put it in our update. Check for the player hitting the spacebar to jump, or the other inputs, or if we need to respawn due to the height or the position of our player. Now, Unity, because it has built-in physics, has a built-in collision check, and I'll show you how to utilize it. So we start with private, then void, and then start typing on collision. Oh, spell void correctly. On collision, and we can see we get on collision 2D. That's the one we want. I'll use my arrow keys, go down, press tab, and boom, method's already ready to roll. So this, whatever is inside this basket of code here, will run every single time we collide with anything with a collider. So we need to check what did we collide with, and that's why we created that layer called hazard. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to do a simple if statement, and the if statement is going to check the thing we collided with, which is named collision 2D. It gets the name collision. So we're going to type in collision, and I want to look at that particular game object that the collider is attached to, and I want to look at its layer. Okay, and I'm going to check, is that equal to, and we can't use a single equal sign. In coding in C#, equals means I'm declaring or assigning a variable or assigning a value to something. We're not doing that. We're doing a check. So we use a double equal sign. And now we're going to be checking what if this is the same as the hazard layer. Well, how do we do that? It's pretty simple. We're just going to access all of our layer masks, which we do by typing layer mask, just like so. And I want to look at the name. And so we go name to layer. And we need to spell this perfectly. Inside brackets, it's going to now check, did I collide with the hazard layer? Make sure you spell that the exact same way you spelled it before. Now, if this returns true, what do we want to happen? Well, the great thing is we've already created a respawn method right here where we respawned if we fell into the abyss. Well, now if we collide, we want to respawn as well. So I'm just going to call our special respawn method here, and this should work. All right, so let's Control S to save the script, and we'll go back into Unity now once it compiles scripts, and we'll check if this worked. All right, and I don't like the white color on my triangle, so let's select the spikes. Let's go to the sprite renderer, and let's make it red for danger. Okay, there. Now it looks a little bit different. Let's press play, and let's see what happens when I collide with this little spike here. Okay, moving left and right. Boom, we respawn instantly. Respawn, respawn. Now, and respawn when I fall. Okay, so what I want you to notice here is that the respawn is happening instantly. Now we haven't brought our animations in, but we're actually going to create a delay because we need to play our death animation when we collide with these spikes. We don't need a death animation when we fall, but we do need one when we hit the spike. And so we're going to be implementing that in a later video, but now we have a hazard that works. Now, what I do want to show you really quickly is what a prefab is. So I've created this triangle and I respawn when I collide with it. Now it would be really annoying to go and create the exact same thing again. And yes, I could go Control D, duplicate it, and move it over and add some more spikes, and move it over again, and move it over again, you know, and create spike after spike after spike. That works, but a more common method of what we do, I'm just going to delete all those, it's called a prefab. So anything I create in my scene, in the hierarchy, I can drag it down, click and drag down into my assets, and now we've created a prefab. And now all I got to do is click and drag it into my scene, and these are all exactly the same. They're on the hazard layer, they have the same color. The only thing that's changing is the position of all these spikes, and no matter what, doesn't matter, any spike that I hit from that prefab, it will cause me to respawn. So I could jump over this one but hit that spike, right? And now I have a prefab that works really great. If you want to start moving your spikes in different ways, obviously you can create a rotation here, and we'd be rotating it on the Z. So the Z would spin that. And so if I want to move it just a quarter turn, I could move it 90. If I want to flip it upside down, I could move it 180. And if I want to move it all the way in the other direction, I could go 270. That's just if you want to do some rotations on these triangles for now. But for that, we're going to pause. I'm going to delete all these extra spikes that I just created, and we're going to see you in the next video.